In the glittering chaos of a Boston charity gala held in one of the city's oldest luxury hotels, Stella Bennett, recently unemployed former barista struggling with mounting debts, attended as the plus one of her childhood friend Lisa Montgomery. Dressed in her only decent black cocktail dress, a simple polyester blend that suddenly felt cheap against her skin, Stella felt like an imposter among the silks and cashmeres of the elite. The crystal chandeliers scattered prisms across the marble floor, each light fragment a tiny star in a galaxy of wealth she didn't belong to. She tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, fingers trembling slightly as she clutched her champagne flute, the bubbles inside more confident than she could ever be. Lisa whispered beside her, elbow gently nudging her ribs. Smile. These people can smell fear. Her childhood friend had dragged her here under the guise of networking after losing her job at the downtown cafe last week. What Lisa really meant was that Stella needed to find a rich husband, or at least a generous lover, to solve her mounting debt problems. I don't belong here, Stella murmured, taking a sip of champagne that cost more than her monthly rent. The liquid was crisp, almost bitter against her tongue, mirroring the reality of her circumstances. Nobody knows that except you, Lisa replied, her eyes scanning the room hungrily. She'd always been beautiful in that effortless way, golden hair, blue eyes, and the kind of confidence money buys. Besides, Stella, you look gorgeous tonight. That dress makes your eyes look like emeralds. Stella forced a smile, knowing Lisa meant well. The gala fundraiser was in a historic venue where old money and new ambitions collided in quiet deals and loud laughter. Stella had spent hours researching etiquette to avoid embarrassing herself, yet she still felt like an anthropologist observing a foreign culture. That's when she first felt it, the weight of someone's gaze burning into her skin. She turned slowly, her body responding before her mind could catch up. Across the room, partially hidden by a cluster of laughing men in tuxedos, stood someone who didn't quite fit despite his obvious wealth. He wasn't laughing or pretending to smile. Instead, his dark eyes were fixed on her with an intensity that made her champagne taste suddenly sour. "Who is that?" Stella asked Lisa, trying to sound casual while her heart inexplicably thundered against her ribs. Lisa followed her gaze, and her posture instantly changed, straightening, tightening, like a prey animal sensing danger. "That's Adriana Russo," she whispered, voice dropping so low Stella barely heard over the string quartet. "Don't stare. Don't even look."
Why? Who is he?
But even as she asked, something primitive inside Stella already knew. The man radiated danger like heat from a flame. He owns half the waterfront, officially. Unofficially, old Italian family. They call him the prince because he took over everything when his father disappeared 3 years ago. Nobody asked questions about what happened to Senior. Stella's eyes betrayed her, drawn back to him like a magnet finding north. He was younger than expected, early 30s perhaps, and undeniably handsome in that sharp, threatening way of a predator. His suit wasn't flashy like the tech millionaires around them, but its perfect fit screamed money. 2 broad-shouldered men hovered nearby, eyes constantly scanning while pretending to enjoy the party. "He's looking at you," Lisa hissed, gripping Stella's arm. "Why is he looking at you?" "I don't know," Stella whispered back, a strange heat crawling up her neck. "I've never seen him before." "Well, he's coming over. I'm getting another drink." Lisa's loyalty evaporated as quickly as she did, leaving Stella alone as the crowd parted like the Red Sea before Adriana Russo's purposeful stride. Stella looked for an escape, but her body refused to move, trapped in the amber of his attention. Up close, his cologne was expensive and earthy, forests after rain. A thin scar traced his jaw, the only flaw in otherwise perfect features. His eyes were darker than from across the room, nearly black, revealing nothing while taking everything in. "You're not enjoying yourself," he said, not a question, but a statement in a voice lightly accented, reminding her he came from somewhere else originally. Italy, she assumed. "I'm fine. Thank you," Stella replied automatically, the social script for women approached by powerful men. "Be polite, don't offend, find the quickest exit." "You're lying." His mouth curved slightly, not quite a smile. You've been checking the exits every 30 seconds since you arrived. The observation unsettled her. She hadn't realized she was being watched so closely. Everyone's being watched, he continued, just not with the same interest. He took a champagne flute from a passing waiter without breaking eye contact. You don't know who I am. Again, not a question. Stella hesitated, caught between honesty and self-preservation. I was just told. He nodded slightly. And now you're afraid. Should I be? The words escaped before she could stop them. Boldness born from nervousness. Instead of anger, amusement flickered across his face, softening its hard edges momentarily. Most people are. You're Stella. The fact he knew her first name sent alarm bells ringing. How do you? I make it my business to know who attends these events, he interrupted smoothly. Especially when they're as out of place as you are. I'm sorry if I'm not meeting the dress code, Stella replied, embarrassment and defiance warring within her. That's not what I meant. He stepped closer. She resisted stepping back. You're not calculating the net worth of everyone you speak to. Your smile earlier, the only genuine one I've seen tonight, was for the elderly coat check attendant, not for anyone who could advance your social standing. Stella swallowed hard, unnerved by his observations. I should find my friend. She's at the bar flirting with Senator Williamson. He's engaged to the Thompson heiress, but I doubt that concerns her. His words were delivered without judgment, merely facts. You don't know anything about her. I know everything about everyone in this room. It's how I stay alive. He offered his hand suddenly. Dance with me. It wasn't a request so much as a foregone conclusion. Every instinct screamed to refuse, mumble an excuse, and flee. Yet beneath the fear bubbled something darker. Curiosity. I'm not a very good dancer, Stella admitted, staring at his outstretched hand. I am. The simple confidence pulled at something deep within her. She placed her hand in his, and his fingers closed with surprising gentleness. The contrast between his touch and the power he exuded made her shiver. He guided her to the dance floor where couples swayed to a waltz she didn't recognize. One of his guards moved to follow, but Adriano dismissed him with a slight shake of his head. His hand settled at the small of her back, warm through the thin fabric. Follow my lead, he murmured close to her ear, breath stirring loose strands of hair. And she did. For someone with such imposing presence, he moved with unexpected grace, guiding her effortlessly. She felt the stares, the whispers behind manicured hands, the sudden attention of a room that had previously looked through her as if she were glass. They're wondering who you are, he said, reading her thoughts with unsettling accuracy. And what are you telling them? Stella asked, finding her voice again. His lips brushed her temple. Not quite a kiss. That's entirely up to you. The cryptic response hung as the music swelled. His thumb traced small circles against her bare back, each touch sending electric currents up her spine. I should go, Stella said after the song ended, reality intruding on the strange spell. You haven't told me why you're here. His hand remained on her back, guiding her toward terrace doors instead of the main room. My friend Lisa invited me. She glanced back, searching for Lisa's blonde head, but she was nowhere. Lisa Montgomery doesn't do anything without ulterior motives. The casual dismissal of her only friend sent a chill through her. Outside, the night air was crisp with early autumn, the garden below twinkling with strategic lighting. Boston's skyline glittered beyond, reminding Stella how far she was from her tiny Dorchester apartment. Do you know Lisa well? Stella asked, wrapping arms around herself against the chill. Before he could answer, he shrugged out of his jacket and placed it over her shoulders in one fluid motion. The weight, residual warmth, and his scent enveloping her felt overwhelmingly intimate. Thank you, she murmured, clutching the expensive fabric. I know her father's gambling debts, Adriano replied, answering her earlier question. I know he borrowed from people he shouldn't have. I know he's desperate to marry her off to someone wealthy enough to solve his problems. Stella stared, implications dawning. And you think she brought me here as what? A distraction? I think Montgomery would sell his own daughter to keep his kneecaps intact. Bringing your beautiful friend as bait for his creditors would be nothing to him. That's a horrible thing to say. The truth often is. He leaned against the stone balustrade, studying her. Why did you really come tonight, Stella? She sighed, tired of pretending. I needed a night away from reality, from past due notices, job rejections, wondering how to make rent next month. Embarrassed by her honesty, she shook her head. Stupid, right? Thinking I could escape by playing dress-up for one night. Something shifted in his expression, a softening around the eyes. Not stupid. Human. A comfortable silence settled as they looked over the garden. The string quartet's music drifted faintly, a soundtrack to a surreal moment. Come with me, he said suddenly, straightening. Somewhere more interesting than this charity facade. He offered his hand again. Stella hesitated longer this time. I don't even know you. You know exactly who I am. He countered. Your friend made sure of that. The question is whether you'll let fear make your decisions tonight, or curiosity. It was a velvet-wrapped challenge. Despite everything, Stella placed her hand in his once more. The morning after their passionate night, Adriano left early for business, pressing a velvet box into Stella's hand before departing. Inside was a delicate gold chain with a diamond-inlaid key pendant, symbolizing trust, he said, access to parts of him no one else had. He also gave her keys to his city penthouse, insisting she stay there for safety during a situation brewing in his world. It's precautionary, he assured her, kissing her deeply before vanishing with his security detail. Days of isolation followed in the luxurious Millennium Tower penthouse, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Boston, designer clothes in her size filling the closet, gourmet meals delivered. But anxiety gnawed at Stella. Adriano's texts were reassuring but brief. Handling business, miss you, stay inside. Lisa called repeatedly, demanding details about that night with Russo, but Stella ignored her, unsettled by Adriano's revelation about Lisa's father's debts. On the third day, Bianca Russo, Adriano's sophisticated sister, arrived unannounced for lunch. Over wine in the penthouse, Bianca studied Stella, with sharp eyes matching her brother's. He's never moved this fast, she said. You must be special. Bianca warned of Adriano's possessiveness. He sees something he wants, he takes it. It's his strength and danger. Yet she admired Stella's effect. He's different with you, lighter. Bianca revealed more about the situation, a rival family testing boundaries. Stay safe. He'll protect you, but his world has costs. That evening, Bianca called, an attempt on Adriano's life. He was injured but handling it violently, neutralizing threats. Stella's heart raced. Loving him meant accepting this darkness. She demanded to see him, but Bianca advised patience. He's keeping you out to shield you. Reunited days later, Adriano appeared with a bruised jaw, exhaustion in his eyes. He confessed the attack. Rivals ambushed a meeting. His men eliminated them. It's handled, he said, pulling her close. Stella confronted the reality. This is your life, violence, enemies. Loving you means accepting danger. He promised protection without lies, vowing honesty. Stella demanded independence, no shutting her out, support for her writing without control. He agreed, connecting her legitimately to editors. Their bond deepened amid renewed passion, but shadows lingered. At a gallery opening, ex-lover Sophia confronted them venomously. He'll discard you like me once the novelty fades. Sophia's bitterness revealed Adriano's past. Ring given, then ended coldly when she became unstable. Stella questioned, will I be next? Adriano's sincerity disarmed her. I've loved you since that first night. You're different, a light in my dark world. 6 months later, Stella lived between his coastal mansion and penthouse. Her reimagined fairy tales collection was published legitimately. She helped design his community center, reconnecting him to architecture. She met his captains, navigated power dynamics, accepted constant security. Arguments arose over boundaries, his protectiveness clashing with her independence. But love prevailed, forging deeper understanding. Adriano proposed on the terrace overlooking crashing waves, emerald ring matching her eyes. Be my wife, partner, equal. Tears in her eyes, Stella accepted, choosing him fully, light and shadows. Yet threats lingered. A rival's final strike nearly succeeded, injuring Adriano again. He neutralized it permanently. Stella, nursing him, understood the cost. Wealth, passion, protection, but perpetual vigilance, moral gray areas, engaged. In his arms watching waves below, she embraced it. Together, they vowed, building an extraordinary life from danger and devotion, her once struggling heart now bound to Boston's most dangerous man, forever. Engaged to Adriano Russo, Stella Bennett fully embraced a world she once viewed from the outside, a life of luxury tempered by constant vigilance, passion forever shadowed by lurking threats. The emerald ring on her finger, matching the color of her eyes, symbolized not just love but a deliberate choice to stand beside Boston's most powerful and dangerous man, accepting both his light and his darkness. Her writing career flourished in ways she'd only dreamed of. With Adriano's legitimate connections, editors and publishers who judged her work on merit alone, her collection of dark, reimagined fairy tales found a respected publisher. Reviews praised her fresh voice, and book tours followed, often with discreet security trailing at a distance. Stella balanced public appearances with private writing sessions in Adriano's coastal mansion library, surrounded by rare first editions he'd collected partly for her pleasure. Adriano, meanwhile, reconnected with his long-buried passion for architecture. The community center in Boston's North End, designed with Stella's input, opened to great acclaim, a modern facility offering after-school programs, arts classes, and job training for at-risk youth. Marco, Adriano's godfather and beloved uncle, cut the ribbon with tears in his eyes, calling it the best thing this family has built in generations. For Adriano, it was redemption of sorts, a way to give back to the community his empire both protected and exploited. They balanced tenderness with the demands of his empire. Mornings often began with quiet coffee on the terrace, watching waves crash below, his hand resting possessively on her knee. Evenings brought passion that still burned as fiercely as their first night. But there were arguments too, fierce ones, over boundaries and independence. Stella refused to be merely kept, insisting on her own income from writing and occasional consulting. Adriano, protective to a fault, struggled when she traveled alone for book signings, but he learned to compromise, assigning security she could tolerate rather than smother. Bianca became a true ally, the sister Stella never had. Sharp-witted and sophisticated, she managed the legitimate side of the family businesses, real estate, restaurants, nightclubs, freeing Adriano for more family time. Marco treated Stella like a daughter, cooking elaborate Italian feasts and sharing stories of Adriano's childhood that humanized the man she loved. Sofia Valentini's jealousy lingered briefly, her venomous stares at public events a reminder of Adriano's past. But her influence faded, neutralized discreetly through Adriano's networks, until she vanished from their circles entirely. Rivals, however, continued testing boundaries. One final, bold ambush came months after the engagement, a coordinated hit during a meeting at a waterfront warehouse. Adriano was injured, shot in the shoulder, but his men repelled the attack. Stella nursed him through recovery, confronting mortality head-on for the first time. Sitting by his bedside as he slept off painkillers, she whispered, "I won't lose you." When he woke, weakened but determined, he eliminated the remaining threats permanently, ensuring no further challenges to his authority or to their future. Their wedding was intimate and seaside, held at the coastal mansion under a canopy of stars. Stella wore emerald silk that caught the moonlight. Adriano, in a tailored black tuxedo, vowed eternal protection, partnership, and love. Only closest family and trusted allies attended, Bianca as maid of honor, Marco officiating with tears in his eyes. No grand spectacle, just profound commitment. Post-wedding life stabilized in unexpected ways. Children were discussed seriously. Stella wanted them. Adriano longed for a family unburdened by his father's shadows. Her career soared with a second book contract. His empire ran smoother as he delegated more business to trusted captains, prioritizing family. Yet danger remained eternal, security details a constant, safe houses prepared, contingency plans memorized. Stella, once struggling alone in a leaking apartment, found profound purpose in Adriano's love. She advocated quietly for community good, using his influence to fund scholarships, women's shelters, arts programs, balancing his darkness with light. Years later, reflecting on that fateful gala night, Stella knew. Curiosity had led to love, danger to unbreakable strength. Adriano, once an isolated king ruling through fear, found salvation in her light. "Let them watch," he'd whispered that first evening. Now the world did, seeing a power couple, beautiful, feared, deeply devoted. Their story wasn't a fairy tale perfect. There were scars, moral compromises, nights of worry. But it was real, raw passion, profound sacrifice, an unbreakable bond forged in fire. In each other's arms, facing everything, sunlight and shadows, they remained forever claimed, forever choosing.